Okay, I'm Mason Hohsfield, and this is my mom, Shelby Hohsfield. Okay, question number one. What are some of your earliest memories from your childhood?
Um, so my earliest memories are probably, so I grew up right next to my grandparents,
Hmm.
which was super fun. They lived right next door. So my earliest memories are doing a lot of stuff outside. So is like gardening with my pop-up
Oh
was
yeah.
like a big one. My dad, I felt like always had another project going.
Yeah.
And so on Saturdays, one of my earliest memories was when my dad was trying to build a shed outside.
Jeez.
And when he started, there was like nothing going on. And then as he was working, I don't know, the winds of New Mexico started happening. And so he like was halfway getting blown away. And then my mom got home
Oh,
from work and
jeez.
she was getting blown away. And they're like, stay inside. And it was like, it was a whole thing. But
That's funny.
being outside a lot, like we
Yeah.
spent a lot of time, we were biking outside. We were always outside.
Okay. Ross? Question number two. What was your family like growing up?
So my parents were really young when they had me. So I feel like we all kind of grew up a little bit together.
Yeah.
So my parents were young. Like I said, I grew up right next to my grandparents. My sister was almost 5 years younger than me. So it was just my parents and I for a long time there. We're a very close family.
Hmm.
We did a lot together,
Yeah.
and my parents are very active people. So we were always doing something. Um, yeah, it was
Awesome.
fun. It was good
Awesome.
childhood.
What traditions or routines did your family have that were meaningful to you?
Like I said, we were very much outside people.
Yeah.
So camping, we did
Yeah.
a lot of camping together. They also, because they were young, they didn't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of things that didn't cost a lot of money, like
Yeah.
going for bike rides in the bosque and things like that. We also showed horses, but I did like 4-H, so not like expensive show horses,
Yeah.
but like my parents were always willing to like do whatever it took to make sure that our kids, their kids, us kids, got to do things in life. So we
Okay.
did have horses, and I showed horses with 4-H. That was probably one of the biggest things. But yeah, we were very active, outdoor, not a lot of money, but did things together, people.
That's good. Awesome. Were there any historical or cultural events that had a big impact on your life?
um,
Like any
well,
big
I'm
things that
trying
you
to think.
remember growing
Well,
up?
you know what? One of my earliest memories, I do remember this, was when the whole Reagan campaign came out when it was like, this is your brain, this is drugs, this is
Oh
your
yeah.
brain on drugs, and it was like the egg in the frying pan, you know?
Uh-huh.
That was like I do remember that
Yeah.
being a big deal, like the war on drugs
Uh-huh.
was a big deal. And then when I was a freshman in college is when 9/11 happened.
Oh yeah.
So that was a really big deal. And I actually was at home when that happened. I was home with my mom, and we watched it on TV together that day. So
Yeah. Crazy.
yeah, so I suppose those are the things, the big things that stand out. I remember Clinton playing the saxophone on the Tonight Show. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
Like just trying to remember anything that like happened that was big.
Yeah.
Those were all big things.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. What was one of the biggest challenges you faced as a young adult?
Um, Biggest challenges. I don't, I mean, I honestly, I had pretty good childhood. Things were
Yeah.
pretty good. I would say, I mean, one of the biggest things, and I've talked to you about this quite a bit,
Yeah.
is living in a mixed faith
Yeah.
household. Having two different faiths. That was always a challenge, I think,
Yeah.
for all of us.
Uh-huh.
Just everybody still being happy with each other,
I understand.
with having very different views all under one roof. But I think, they did the best they could. So.
Yeah. Awesome. How did your faith or values influence your decisions growing
That's my
up?
next question. Yeah. So, well, yeah. My dad was very strong in his faith, and that's what we ended up doing.
Hmm.
Um, I do think that that affected me like all through my life.
Totally understand.
I do think that still affects me to some extent, and I hope that I've done a good job with you guys
Yeah,
with
you definitely.
trying to make it a peaceful, faithful
Yeah.
home. I do think that that's important. So yeah, I mean that definitely affected my whole life.
Yeah, I'm sure. Um, what stories or lessons from your parents or grandparents have stayed with you?
Hmm. Well, both of my parents, so both of my grandparents, they moved to New Mexico. So none of them were native New Mexicans.
Okay.
And they moved from places where their families had been forever.
Hmm.
And so they were kind of alone on an island.
Yeah.
Like all like both sides were
Yeah.
like alone. My mom, coming from New Jersey, so that was a real big change. And then
Yeah.
my dad from Texas, so that was a real big change.
Hmm.
And so I do think maybe um, appreciating where we were at was
Yeah.
something that they were always kind of working on.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, I think that that ended up growing more of an appreciation of New Mexico in me. Like I
Yeah,
love being in New
me
Mexico,
too. Yeah.
but I think that that was something that would like they had to work on.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if that makes sense,
No, it
but
definitely does. How do you think our family has changed over the years?
losing my grandparents was a big deal. I think they were such a huge part of our lives, of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so that has been a big change. And so instead of having a patriarch in my pop-off, having now more, I guess, my mom as the matriarch,
Mm-hmm.
um, and just seeing that progression and that change and
It's kind of,
just knowing that like time kind of marches on, like
yeah.
that it makes me kind of sad
Oh,
sometimes. It does.
yeah.
It does make me sad sometimes, but also like happy to see where you guys are going.
Mhm.
So I think just time is how our family has
Yeah,
changed. Yeah.
definitely. And then last question. What do you hope I carry forward with our family's history?
With our family's history,
Yeah,
um, how faith is really important.
yeah,
I think that's the number one thing is that
I agree.
faith should be the center of your home. And when it is, and you all are on the same page, like it will just change everything about the integrity of your family. So I do think faith, I hope that you carry that with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then also, I do think too, like we've always been a really close family of all of us being together.
Hmm.
Like we spend like probably a ridiculous amount of time as together as a
Yeah,
family.
that's
And
a good thing.
I think that, so much of America is always trying to pull you away from that.
Yeah.
Like your
Mhm.
independence, your independence, your independence. But it's okay to be a little dependent. So I hope
100%.
that you bring that with you
Yeah,
too. That
definitely.
like being with the rest of your family, I think can only make stuff
Yeah.
stronger.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
thanks,
it.
Mom. Yeah, that's it.
All right.
So, thank you, Mom. You're the
All
best.
right. Bye. I love you.